Hey guys, welcome back to the DisInsider YouTube channel. We are here in sunny Southern California at Garner Holt Productions.
This guy is the pioneer behind animatronics, and we get an exclusive first look inside.
We're gonna see from the beginning to the end how these animatronics are made, where these animatronics came from, and where they're gonna end up being. And we're gonna learn a little bit more about Garner Holt in an exclusive interview with the man who started it all. So let's go on in, come on. So we're here with Garner Holt. Again, as I introed you, you've been in this industry for over 40 years, making some of the best animatronics that people have seen across, theme parks, restaurants, even out farther than that, whether it's casinos in Vegas and around the other malls around the globe. I wanted to ask you, what is the crowning achievement to you for, Garner Holt Productions? Some of the things you made, whether it's new or old, everyone's seen your work, but what is the one thing that's like, man, that's my standing up Walt Disney?
Well, I guess, a lot of people, in a way, kind of ask the same question. They say, what is my favorite figure, or what is the most iconic figure that we've done, everything. And I usually answer that. It usually has to do by era, I think. And we've been around for so long. There's so many important figures that I can really kind of call out. So the first one is probably the Uncle Sam figure that I did, because that was something that I showed Imagineering, and that's what got me connected with Disney. Unicycle rider that I did was the kind of the thing that brought me into my first theme park job, which was in Vegas. And they kind of said, wow, if you can do that, you can do anything we need to do. And, eventually when I got into doing the Jack Skellington for Disney, that was a big thing, because that was the first time that I, or really anyone, had been allowed to put a high-end character in a classic Disney attraction. So that was a milestone for us there. Some other big ones, like the dragon, the fire-breathing dragon, Fantasmic, and then like doing the Cars attraction. I think that kind of put us up on another level, because that was such a giant project. So I really liked the Radiator Springs. I like doing the Cars there. We've enjoyed, there's so many characters that we enjoy, like the Snowman and the Matterhorn, he was really fun. And, to put something like that in such a classic, old, original Disney attraction just means a lot to me, to be able to do something as fun as that,
Yeah, and what I liked is what we learned about you today is how you would get these records for the Haunted Mansion at Kmart with your, going with your mom and dad, which we love. That's so awesome, because I have those records, and everyone loves vintage Disney, and one of the most, iconic attractions within the Disney parks is, the Haunted Mansion, and, that's an original ride, and we had learned that you are the first person to take other characters and insert them into an original Disney attraction. What was it like getting that call that one of the first big, attractions that you're going to work on is this one where you would go and have so many memories with your mom? And what was it like taking an iconic character like Jack and then turning that into one of the most iconic animatronics during the holidays?
Well, it was really a big deal, because it was kind of like a dream come true in a way, because, I'd grown up with the Haunted Mansion record, and it meant so much to me, and the Haunted Mansion meant so much to me and everything else. And then to be asked to kind of like redo the place, in a sense. We didn't just do Jack, we did, everything that, from the very beginning all the way up through the, the load area card, the singing plants, the Christmas tree in the Grand Hall, all the way to the Pumpkin Mountain and the graveyard. All the set and scenery through there, Oogie Boogie at the end, the whole thing. So it was really kind of like revamping the whole building. And we now, of course, all that was designed by Steve Davidson and Disney people and everything. We built a lot of it, and they built a lot of decorations too. So I won't take credit for all of it, but. Being able to, originally, we basically had the keys to the place. They said, you guys just go in and do this. So we were there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Practically living in the place. We went through every lowest depth, every part of the real attic, and just getting to know that whole building inside out and backwards was just amazing. And, from knowing it from my childhood and getting to like work in there and put all our stuff in there, it was just a fantastic thing. It was just amazing, and they would ask us to come back every year and set it back up. For many years we did that until everybody learned how to do it there, and then now they do it themselves. But so year after year we went back in and put it all back in and added stuff to it. We added Oogie Boogie a couple of years after the original thing, and then many years later we put Sally in there. The Sally in the graveyard. So. But it's just been fantastic, and it's just been a real piece of my personal history to have done that,
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you had mentioned, a couple Imagineers already. Who are just a few that maybe you look up to? And it, maybe not even Imagineers, but maybe, Disney writers, artists, maybe in the film industry from Disney. Like, who are some of your, I would say more, who are your favorite Disney, personalities?
Well, Bob Gurr is one of my favorites because he's been such a good friend over the years, and when I started my animatronic company, years and years ago, back in I think it was probably the late '80s or early '90s, I'd heard about this guy Bob Gurr, worked at Disney and everything else, and I heard that he was retired, and so I just basically looked him up in the phone book, and I thought, well, I'll either dial this guy's number, and either A, he won't answer, B, he'll answer and say, thanks, but get lost, who are you? Or he'll be a nice guy, and he was a nice guy, and he said, we talked for hours and hours, he came out the shop, we got to be friends, I had projects that I needed help with that were, kind of too big for us at the time, and he would help do things, and he would help me with ideas, and never once accepted. Although I tried to force him a dozen times to get paid for it, he would only. He used to say, "Take me to Mimi's and buy me a bowl of soup and for lunch, and that's all the pay I need." So I used to call him when I get a big project in, like years later. I'd call him up and say, "Bob, you hungry for some soup? I have a problem out here." So he'd come out and help. But great. So that's what kind of guy he is. Just great guy, and very generous. Very nice man, and a very brilliant man. And so the other people, like Rolly Crump, and other designers. There were other people that big names that artists and that. I mean, Marty was a great guy, a great friend, and we were on some boards together and that, and I love just sitting talking to him about his history with Walt and everything else, and we got to know a lot of the Disney family that I really enjoy, and that before some of them passed away, like Ron Miller and others, but there's so many brilliant people that had to do with putting that whole thing together in the beginning, and so many of them that knew Walt personally, that have been just inspirations to me, and good friends and inspirations, as time has gone on.
We do know that a big part of what you do is educating adults and children, in animatronics, and even further out, developing tactics regarding, in the situation we're in, distance learning. I just want you to kind of touch on that a little. What's it like doing that? How much? I'm sure what does it mean to you to see so much joy you bring to not only kids, teens, and adults doing these kinds of things? On both aspects. I know it's a kind of a two-part question.
Yeah, well, it's been great to, so how all the education thing started was that, for years, my shop, probably the last, 25 or 30 years, people would hear about us and what we do, and they want to come out, they want to tour the shop and everything. So I would, I'd have kids come out. Pretty soon I was touring groups of people through probably several times a week, every Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and college kids and teachers and, every kind of, community groups and, the Kiwanis Club and this and that. So, I always I never said no to anybody because I always felt like, people were really interested in this, and, with the Disney and all that, there are a lot of fans and everything. So I would give tours all the time, and it was always fascinating to me that we would give them a tour, and then they would leave. When they were leaving, everybody said, "Oh, I want to work here someday. Oh, I just love this." And they'd have big smiles on their faces, you know. And I think they felt like I felt when I got to see Imagineering the first time, or I got to see Disney the first time, you know, and they just had a spark in them, you know, and it was really exciting to me to see that spark, you know, and kind of like when I was a kid. And I ultimately adopted some schools and to help them with, you know, projects and things. And then I got to the point where we came up with what's called an animaker space. And you know, you hear of maker spaces. When I was in school, I had all kinds of shop classes, and that was the key to me doing what I'm doing today. It was the fact that I had metal shop and wood shop and, you know, art and all this stuff. They took all that out of schools. I mean, hardly schools have shop classes anymore. You can't electronics and drafting and all, you know, and welding, and that was key to me. So we made a classroom that we can take a classroom, any school that has a classroom, and we filled up with all kinds of machines, the same machines that we use here, you know, vacuum forming, 3D printing, laser cutter, you know, this, that, and everything else. We have these projects that they can build, so the kids can build an animated figure, just like we do here. So it's like a mini Garner Holt Productions in a classroom. They have all the same machines we have, or some of them, right. And we can take raw materials and build an animated figure. They could take raw materials and build an animated figure, a tiki bird or an animated head, or, you know, this and that. And the kids learn to do this, and they get to witness 50 different career paths that they could do: costuming and electronics and robotics and all this kind of stuff. So rather than calling that a normal maker space, we call it an animaker space, and we've trademarked that and everything else. So we have an educational division across the street in a big building, and I got a bunch of educators over there, and they're all working on schools all over the country. We're selling these animaker spaces to them where kids can go and learn about animatronics and learn about career paths and learn about all this fun stuff that they can do and how wonderful animatronics is. And robotics is coming, whether everybody likes it or not. Pretty soon you're going to be standing next to a robot just about everything that you do. And kids need to be building them and maintaining them and working with them and programming them and all this kind of stuff. So we're training all that kind of fun stuff in the animaker space. So that's just taken off like a rocket. And, you know, we're on this side of the street still building figures for parks and things. But on the other side of the street, we're doing the educational thing. And prior to COVID, like I said out there in the shop, prior to COVID, we had 150 kids a day tour in this shop. And I'd come in the morning and there'd be 4 school buses lined up out there. And it was a lot of fun, and we'll get back to that, you know, when things open up a little bit more. But no, I just like to see everybody get excited like I was about animatronics when I was a kid. I like to see them get excited and want to do it and want to learn and want to go home and tinker, you know, rather than just sit there and poke on the screen and play video games.
It's always good to see kids with that same kind of drive that you had, because when you're in an area where you feel like you're the most proud of yourself and, you know, the achievements you've made, you see that on other kids and you make this lasting impact. So it's almost kind of like training across the street. All right, when you're old enough, we'll see you at the big boy studio. And that's always awesome to hear.
Yeah, or they can go out and work all kinds of, you know, Disneyland, or they can work in the robotics industry, or they, you know, so it's just fun to see it spread. Yeah, NASA, they could spread all over the place. So yeah, it's fun.
What's really cool is you were honored with a Disneyana Fan Club Disney Legend Award. What was it like getting the call to get such an iconic award for yourself?
Fabulous. Yeah, it's fabulous. I've had some fabulous awards, and, you know, I don't do it for the awards, but it's nice cherry on top, you know. It's fun to get recognized, and, you know, for the work that we've done. We've really enjoyed doing all of this for the theme parks, and I've got a little game that I play with myself when I meet somebody new, you know, and they say, well, what do you do? And the first thing what do you do for a living or whatever? The first thing I say to them is, if I say, do you have, you know, kids, whatever, you know, most of them have kids now, and I'll say, I bet you that I've entertained somebody in your family with something I've built. And they look at me real funny, and I'll say, have you ever been to, you know, Disneyland, Universal Studios, Knott's, any, you know, major theme park, or has your kids or grandkids been to a Chuck E. Cheese? And I've never yet found one that has not said no to that I haven't had some impact on their family's life because of all of those things, And that's just kind of fun, to be able to say that somehow something we've created here has probably impacted, someone if they've lived in this country or, seen.
And that's worldwide, which is crazy. I mean, and it's funny because it's not just theme park attractions. People think, when they hear animatronics, they go Disneyland, Walt Disney World, the Disney parks. When in reality, it's more than that. And
we're working with medical stuff. We're working with, the kind of things that you work on to train nurses and that, the animated dummies, mechanical dummies. And the dummy, that's not good. The animated mannequins or whatever you call it. But then, military. We've done work with the military where you can shoot at our characters and they shoot back and you try to kill them and they try to kill you. And if you shoot them, they fall over dead on the ground. And then, you go take their weapon away and they pop back up and start shooting at you again, type thing. So for military training, for kids that, need training before they go overseas and fight, So we've done a lot with military stuff, and we've got characters that can throw hand grenades. We've got characters that can get shot, and they know they've been shot, and they fall down, and all kinds of crazy stuff, But so it's not just theme parks, it's all retail. We've done a lot of personal products. We do a lot of things. That's kind of how we got involved with Dick Van Dyke, and there's a lot of other Michael Jackson. I helped build he had a little, well, not a little, it was a property out in San Ynez Valley called Neverland. It was a ranch called Neverland.
Right.
And we helped put that together. That was had pirates and Indians and a train ride and amusement rides and things. And we did stuff out there for Michael when he was around. All kinds of different personal stuff in homes in Malibu and other places that have animatronics and things. So it's a diverse thing, and we've made it really diverse on purpose, because you don't build a $9 billion theme park every day, So there's people that, we try to get animatronics in other places, education being one of them. So.
That's amazing. I do want to close out this interview with this final question. Our families, are they going to see more of your work in the future? Are they going to see some new stuff? Are there any plans for anything new and exciting in the works at Garner Holt Productions?
Yeah, we've got some things in the works right now that they're going to see pretty soon. That's going to probably be a little bit of a splash out in the publicity department. There's some things that have just opened recently that have our animatronics in them, and none of the companies really like us to brag about the things that we've done because they're not supposed to do that. But there's
it's okay to pat yourself on the back a time or two, but we get it.
If you're in Hollywood and you see a new animated attraction, it might be something that we worked on there. And also we've got people over in Beijing working on a giant theme park, and we've got people in Japan, and so they're all kind of all over the place. And there are new parks planned for that are going to be cropping up soon. So we're involved in a lot of them.
Wonderful. So. Well, again, it was an honor to come here, meet you, get a chance to tour the facility, getting to see your life, from your eyes. And again, we at the DisInsider appreciate your time, and thank you.
Well, I appreciate your interest. I'm happy to do it. Like to connect with fans whenever I can, but I appreciate when people enjoy our work. So thank you for doing the interview.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much to Garner Holt and his team at Garner Holt Productions. If you want to learn more about Garner Holt Productions, you can check out the description of this video with the proper links to his website.
And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Hit that notification bell so you get all of our videos. And
I'm Skylar.
I'm Derek.
We'll see you in the castle.
See you in the castle.